as we've gone along, actually we've been meeting the committee's been meeting for about 2 years. Almost every other week for 2 years. And it looked at a lot of things that are related to this area. It's got folks that are very, very emotional. That's one way of putting it about this area. Their ancestors are here, and even some that don't have, as far as they know, ancestors that are buried here, still very emotional because of their own history and their own families and the like. And in terms of, we'll be going pretty soon. We'll have a design firm that will work with us. It's a design firm that involves a lot of people. They may be located primarily in New York City, but then they have people here in Virginia, people in a lot of different areas that are all part of their team to work with us to come up with a design that really respects the area that's here. And while we're looking at a lot of the things that would affect the design, there's a lot of conversation. The peacefulness of the area is one thing that a lot of people have a lot of interest in. And the trees that are here adds to that feeling, adds to the effect and the peacefulness, as well as everything else. We've been talking about the nature, the plants. That's another thing we're doing, is trying to identify the plants that are here. Some may be native, some may not be, and really just trying to determine the ones that are most significant. Certainly periwinkles are real important. There are other plants here that are also important and could play a part in the overall design of the memorial. Because we're talking about a memorial that gives people the opportunity to sit and reflect and all those kinds of things, but also be able to tell a story about those who were enslaved here and those who were buried here, and their history and how it led up to where people are now.
So yeah, I guess for one of the big questions that we all have is for just on a baseline is identification of trees, and could probably start with that and then go into what the morphology of these trees tell us. I mean, we just started doing some of the survey on Tuesday of this week, and I didn't realize this, but even the red buds tend to have these twinning. Like a red bud will die, and then I don't know if they're like a tulip poplar, there are sprouts that come up.
They readily resprout after damage or even die back from something else. So, yeah, it looks like a lot of not secondary, but early succession growth, things that come in after a site's been disturbed significantly, and that's my impression of what's here.
Yeah, and this area, we did a dendrochronology survey with Dan Druckenbrod at Rider University, and basically they cored many of these trees, some of the trees like the ash trees that have been cut, did ring counts, and all this is basically what would you call an eruption of tulip poplars, or basically all the tulip poplars, a lot of them have the same age. So I can't remember what the terminology for that is. It's like an even age stand. There you go. So yeah, an even age stand. So basically, we've got evidence from the archaeology that it's been plowed, but then, what is the type of trees that are in here tell about what's happened over the past 100 years?
So, yeah, thanks for having us. We do have a third partner who is supposed to be on his way, Harry Puffenburger.
He's here.
There he is. Wow, Harry. How can you be late and still perfect timing?
Harry's been working with us on earlier expeditions of trees in 2000. And there's also not a person that's random here, but Rick, who is a volunteer photographer. He is going to be doing photographs today, and so he'll be doing the photography, and Reese will be doing the videoing. So thank you, Rick, for being out here, and all these will be available to everyone. We'll put these onto a shared album. So all right,
Yeah.
thanks.
So
Sam.
yeah, just by way of introduction, again, I work for a cooperative extension, which is part of the land-grant university system. So I'm actually employed by Virginia Tech, but in Virginia, we have one cooperative extension. So that means Virginia State University, the historically black land-grant college university in Petersburg, is part of cooperative extension. So on our logo, you see both Virginia State University as well as Virginia Tech, or administered primarily through Virginia Tech in our case. And I am based in Madison County since 2001, serve our Northwest District. And not long after I came to Virginia, by way of Pennsylvania, I heard about some things going on out here at Montpelier. Oh, be careful. There's a jack in a pulpit right next to you.
Oh, yeah.
That's me bragging about the one of the LGS that I happen to know, little green stuff, mostly on trees. So just so you know, I've got some appreciation for that little stuff too. So at any rate, I found out about some things happening in Montpelier here with a demonstration forest at that time. And since then, Harry got involved pretty early on too, and Robert came along, and we've been working together as in different capacities. Me as an extension agent, Harry as a master naturalist, Robert as a horticulturalist on a lot of walks in the what we call the working woods that goes through the landmark forest and into then a younger, earlier stand. And so we've got a whole cadre of volunteers that are involved. Harry's one of the most involved, and I'm glad he's still involved. He has a forestry background as well. So we might be clamoring over each other to talk about the trees because we'd like to do that. But I've got the stage right now. So we thought we'd start with tree ID, simply because that's something very tangible and a good place to start. But tree species, what species are present, do tell a lot about not only the history, but the soils. And so what we have predominantly in here is tulip poplar, also known as yellow poplar, also known as tulip tree. It's in the magnolia family. So it does get a very nice bloom, but most people don't realize that because it's so tall up in the tree. But you'll see some of them on the ground. The great source of nectar for honeybees and other critters. So because of the predominant species mix in here, we know that this grew up in full sun. All the trees you see here were grown up in full sun. Tulip poplar does not grow in the shade. So we will not find tulip poplar in the understory as small trees unless there's a significant amount of light there. Okay, and when we walk through the landmark forest, it's kind of the same story, it's just bigger. All right, so a study that Tom Dieroff did, who's, yeah, oh great. His celebration of life is this Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
At Ivy Creek.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a big study to kind of convince Montpelier that it's not old growth. It is old, but does not have the characteristics of old growth, which would include a lot of species that do regenerate in their own shade. All right, and that's not uncommon. This is remarkable here because the soils, which, boy, what's your name? I'm struggling. Matt, which Matt was talking about earlier while we were standing over there. So the soils here are very productive. It makes the trees grow fast, grow tall, and grow big. And so that's what makes a lot of the forest situation here pretty neat. But let's get back to ID. Now, I was told that there are 3 people here who are on the expedition official.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys get the stuff and you have to share.
And this starts dividing us into the teams. What we'll be doing. And I'll get the maps for that later.
So we're going to start with one of those.
Yeah.
So you guys, if you're interested, you might want to make friends with one of these folks.
Yeah, come on and crowd around.
Because I didn't bring enough for this big a crowd, but I'm glad there's more people. So, tree ID. How many of you feel like you're really good at tree ID? Exactly. Yeah. See, no one raises their hand. No one. I wouldn't even raise my hand with that question. Like, really good at tree ID? No. So I did my undergraduate at Purdue, and one of the first real forestry classes we took was tree identification or dendrology. And I got halfway through that semester, went home for whatever it was, spring break, and had a D. I'm like, this is not good. If I'm going to be a forester and I can barely pass tree ID, that's not good. So I worked really hard over the break at all the Latin names and pulled it up to a B. So that is why I am standing here teaching tree ID. Because if I can do it, you can do it, okay? All right, so it just takes a lot of practice. One of the ways, so the green packets I handed out to you has a little tips at the top there. What's the first one say?
Pocket knife.
Okay, a pocket knife can be helpful. Today, probably not. Actually, if we get a twig off of a walnut, we can show you something. What's the next thing?
Hand lens.
Hand lens, you had to look at stuff up close. Sometimes we're looking at buds or the pith. That's where the pocket knife comes in handy, is to look at the pith inside of a twig. All right, next thing?
Binoculars.
All right, binoculars would actually be pretty handy in here. You guys probably have binoculars, don't you?
No.
No?
Got a hand lens on it.
All right.
Maybe.
We need a hand lens here. He's got that. If we need binoculars, Robert has that. So why would binoculars come in handy?
See up
Yeah,
there?
because in the forest, a lot of the leaves are up tall. Now we can find leaves, on the ground, but we're not always sure. We've got a pretty good idea. We can find fruit on the ground, but binoculars can come in handy if we're looking at leaves. What's the next thing?
Twigs.
What is it?
It's a leaf are great, but when leaf or twigs have lots of.
Yeah. So this is actually one of the worst times to do tree ID. Good timing. Okay? Because the leaves are partially out or not out at all. That's what we have here. We're looking at mostly partial leaves. The buds, which are very distinctive, you can identify, people who are really good at this stuff can identify any species just with the buds. But the buds are swollen or not there because the leaf has come out of the bud. So we don't have the buds. Those buds will form a little bit later in the season after the leaves are all expanded. But that's okay. We tend to think about leaves first with tree ID because that's what we look at. That's what most keys are geared toward. But there's a lot of other things we can use, such as the twig, such as fruit, nuts, such as bark. And most foresters will get really good at the bark because that's what's at high level. We can look and know. All right, what's next on that sheet?
You've got the bark, overall shape, and bark,
Yeah.
fruit, and leaves on the ground.
Great, thank you.
Then, if you have something that is not alternate in arrangement, think madcap.
Okay, excellent, thank you. All right, I appreciate your helping me with my own handout there. So, form, tree shape is actually really fun and very useful in this case because look around and just look at what are some different trunk shapes that you see. Let's look at this one behind Dennis. Look at the shape of that. Look at the shape of that one behind you guys there. Those are about the same size tree. What's the shape of that trunk compared to that? Look at where the branches start forming. Now, I see a difference between kind of one species and everything else. I don't know if you see that or not. But the tulip poplar in here, which are the bigger ones, the straight ones, low taper. They tend not to have a sweep in it. This is a bit of an exception because of that, probably an ice storm that broke that top, and then two branches became the two trunks. So the tulip, as you look around here, the trees that look kind of clean, nice, crisp, sharp, those are the tulip poplars. The other thing that's fun about overall tree shape is while you're going down the highway with your friend, you can point to a tree off in the field and say it's, that's a such and such, an elm or an oak, and you're right, because you're not going to stop at 65 miles an hour to verify. So, okay, last thing on that sheet, madcap horse. This is really helpful. Can be really helpful because if you find anything that has an opposite arrangement of leaves, so leaves are going to be either opposite or alternate. So my arms are opposite one another. All right? Oh, that's good. These leaves are opposite one another. Most species, these leaves are actually opposite too. Both of these are weeds, non-natives. So these leaves are opposite. But as you look at,
How about the hackberry?
yeah, it's hard to see them.
With the buds.
I've entered that wonderful stage of life where my glasses are not right. All right, can you see? Yeah, this is pretty good. Let's look at this branch right here. See how these leaves, they're just barely coming out, but these are alternate, right? On the sides of the twig. All right. If something is opposite, these cases excluded, it's either going to be a maple, an ash, a dogwood, in the Caprifoliaceae family, madcap horse, or a horse chestnut. So that's what the madcap horse mnemonic is. That captures almost all the trees that would be opposite in arrangement. Now there's always exceptions in the natural world. So even with dogwood, which is one of those ones that's going to be opposite most times, right? There's one that's alternate. But it's called alternate leaf dogwood because it's the exception. Okay, so in here, I'm seeing poplar, buckeye, and redbud, walnut.
No gum.
I don't see gum either.
No gum.
So most everything I'm seeing here, we're probably not going to find opposite leaf arrangement.
No, well, down
Oh,
there.
the dogwood would be, yes.
Is that a dogwood there?
No, that's a viburnum.
Okay.
But there is some dogwood in here.
There's one down there.
And a couple, I think, over that way.
So yeah, some of these smaller trees we can get to. If you don't have the leaves, look at the buds, because out of the bud comes the leaf. All right. Now let's look at this one. You stay right here. So another thing besides leaf arrangement is leaf shape. This will become bigger, but this is a leaf. It's not three leaves. It has three leaflets making up the leaf. All right. So that's called a compound leaf. Most things are simple leaves, meaning they just have kind of one blade rather than several leaflets. And if you don't know if it's a leaf or a leaflet, you can come back to where the bud is, which will be at the base of the leaf when it's there, which it's not right now because of the time of year we're in. All right? So those are some of the basic tricks and tips for tree ID. The little booklet that I handed you is yours to keep. That is a twig detective. These are nice little books. There's ones for animal tracks, there's one for leaves, there's one for, I think there's constellations and stars. What is it? A fern one? Yeah. There's probably not a mushroom one though, is there? Oh. That can be your project. Harry's an amateur, very strong amateur mycologist. The thing about that book is it's a dichotomous key, which is great. You're only making a choice between two things at one time. Is it this or is it that? And if it's this, then you go here. If it's that, then you go here. So someday I'm going to open up a restaurant that has a dichotomous key for a menu, because when I open up that menu, I'm like, I don't know, it all looks good. So it's going to go something like this. Are you feeling sweet or sour? You know? I'm like, sweet. Okay, it goes to the dessert menu or whatever. Okay, so that book, if we were to open that up, probably the first question it would ask is leaf arrangement, which is going to be what? Do you remember? Opposite or alternate. Yeah. Now, let's say we're looking at a dogwood. It would be opposite. And then the next question might be, is it a compound or simple leaf? Okay, and then it goes on from there. So that's a tool that can be very helpful. I discourage you. Robert has some books. There's all kinds of. If you're interested in, if you go a little further with Tree ID, other than today and tomorrow, then these dichotomous keys are the way to go. Don't get a book where you just start thumbing through it and you find, oh, it looks like that, because you turn a few more pages, it looks like that too. Oh, it looks, and it just quickly you have no idea where you are.
We're the same thing with projectile points.
Okay.
Not all projectile points look the same, but they're not.
Okay, yeah. So it's a sequential, systematic process to work through. And another good resource that Robert has here, this is focused on Virginia, from the Virginia Department of Forestry. It has a dichotomous key in it as well here in the beginning. So that's great. And these books, which you would mostly find, I personally don't like them because they're so broad. They include
Coast
a lot
to coast.
include a lot of
Very
right,
confusing.
Right. There is some technology, and it's getting a lot better with being able to recognize things by the camera on your phone looking at it. That can still make some mistakes. Virginia Tech has a Tree ID app that is the dichotomous key as well. And it's nice in that it limits it. You can set it up to limit it to where you are. So in other words, if we're at Montpelier, can it possibly be a coastal redwood? No, except
There's one right up there.
In that case, that wouldn't work. Yeah. Most places it will work. Montpelier has a lot of exceptions.
Yeah.
So why don't we do this as kind of wrapping up the Tree ID part? Why don't each of us walk to a tree, touch it. If you want to hug it, you can. I'm not a tree hugger in that way that it's used, but it's kind of fun to hug a tree once in a while. So go grab a tree, and then we'll talk about what species that is and why, and start getting a feel for it. What is it?
Is this a red bud?
You're right, it's a redbud. Very good. So why is it a redbud?
I'm looking at the little flowers up there.
Yeah. So the redbuds right now are real easy. They all got the purple flowers, which by the way are edible. They're quite nice. Absolutely. Put on top of your salad. I've never bothered to make the salad. I just eat the flowers. But it would look nice. So redbud does have a pretty nice looking leaf too. It's heart-shaped leaf. Here we go. From last year. So heart-shaped leaf, as these start expanding, the leaves are just coming out. Opposite or alternate?
Alternate?
Yes, it is alternate. You're guessing though, weren't you? Yeah. So here's the leaves. Leaf set, leaf set, leaf set, alternate. All right. So go ahead. Here's something actually that sounds weird, but it's actually very helpful. Feel the tree. It actually really helps. There's trees, just when I walked in here, when I was walking over to you guys this morning, I was like, oh, I think that's yep, it sure is. Okay? So there's this, I don't know, what would you call that? Kinetic, whatever, I don't know. Anyway, all right, next tree. What do we got here? All right, what's your name again?
Maureen.
Maureen has a warty looking tree.
Yeah, it's prickly.
Yeah, that's it. That's good. Good feel. Did everyone touch that tree? Give us some love now. All right. Any idea what this tree is? Maureen, do you happen to know?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's all right. I think you're in good company.
Oh, okay, so I don't know.
It's a hackberry. Very good, Matt.
What is it?
Pretty good for an archaeologist.
Oh, okay. Oh, with those.
All right. So yeah, this is the characteristic of hackberries. Has these warts on it. And if you come up and look at them, you can kind of see they almost look like they come out in layers. Not so much this one, but some of the warts get really big. And this is sort of typical. It's sort of a scraggly, just tree. And the leaves, let's see if we can find a leaf. they disintegrate pretty fast. So I'm not going to find one, but they look pretty boring. They're just kind of a normal shaped leaf with serrations. All right, this is your tree?
That's my tree.
All right.
Black Horticulture.
Wow, he picked one he knew. All right.
No, I use the
You use the key?
I use the app.
Oh, you did? The app is I'm gonna lose my job because of that app. Doesn't matter what you know anymore, just can you use it? All right, so this is Black Hall Viburnum, very good. This actually, you remember the madcap horse?
Yeah.
Caprifoliaceae viburnum is in the Caprifoliaceae group. And so this is actually another one that is opposite. It's a little hard to tell right now because everything's all clustered up. But, well, you can see the branching habit. So where buds are is where leaves are and also where branches are going to be. So we see opposite branches here, opposite. All right. Yeah. So you can actually look up at the tree with no leaves on, not even see the buds, and get an idea if it's opposite or alternate as well. Okay.
So are each one of those a leaf or a leaflet? The two?
These are leaves.
Leaf, okay.
Yeah, simple leaf, not compound leaf. All right, so after everyone has touched that tree.
From the three trees right
Yeah.
here, they're roughly kind of the same size.
Yeah.
How is one of these oldest? Can you tell? Or like this one has kind of the twistiness to it.
Yeah.
How old do redbuds?
So redbuds are an understory species, grow in the shade. So it could have some age to it, but it could also not have that much age to it. And this also an understory. This can be not a strong understory tree. This will get big. That will not get big. This will not get that big. So a big redbud would be that. A big black hall would be that, but not very tall. So yeah, who knows about age? That's one thing. Thank you for bringing that up. Tree size and age, there's a relationship, but they do not equate. A big tree is not necessarily an old tree. Does a tree get bigger as it gets older? Yes, for the most part, until very late in age, at the end of its life. But
Also depends on how dense the area is too.
Yep. How dense it was, what the soils are, how much competition, which is density.
Yeah.
So we can have a tree that's this size and compare it to that big tulip poplar, and they'd be the same age. It happens all the time. The leaves look about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a tulip poplar too.
Okay.
Yeah, just a smaller one. So then this is where so bark, but I'm glad you picked this out because the size of the tree and the bark pattern changes with size and age. So these larger tulip poplar have a more furrowed, deep bark, right? Versus this one that's smaller. It could be the same age, it probably is, and it's suppressed. What we would call suppressed. It's in the understory of the main canopy. So the bark looks a little bit different, but you can still see some of the same hints. This white in the furrow that you would see on the bigger trees, kind of the flat top of the ridges, bark ridges. So,
I got a question, Adam.
yeah,
Why this vine running back here?
because it's bad. This is a bad vine. This is English ivy.
That takes interesting tree.
Montpelier has a problem with invasive species. And it's the history and the soils and the disturbance. Now, Montpelier is not unique. Every piece of land throughout eastern U.S., I might be exaggerating a little bit, but not much, has a problem with invasive species these days. When I went to school at Purdue for my undergraduate, this was in the 80s, we were taught one invasive species. It was tree of heaven. That was it. And it was like this novel thing. Now it's just for a myriad of reasons. But there are some unique invasive species out here, like that jet bee that Matt was talking about earlier. This is the first time I've seen it was out here.
Yeah, the jet bee, so that was the opposite that we looked at to start with. It will colonize. We've also got the linden leaf viburnum,
Akevia, which these are all escapees from early 20th century. They were introduced as garden plants, and they're all beautiful in their own right, but they took to Montpelier. Their climate here is very similar to their native climate in Asia, but they have no pests, no diseases, no predators at all, so they just run amok. It's a good way to put it. And the reason this little guy looks kind of innocuous. It's like, oh, it's just a little vine. But can everybody see the larger tree across with the bushy dark green?
That's what happens, and that's why it's a problem, because it adds so much weight into the tree. And this one already has a cavity in it, so if this goes on to go on, this will topple this tree with time.
That it spreads seeds and takes over the ground, and but it's prettier than kudzu. So,
Harry, where's Harry? There you are. What trees are we missing in here? I see one. Yeah, why don't you lead us over there?
See the bark? See it's smooth?
Look at the leaves. One thing, if I'm pointing right here, what's going on here?
It's looks like it's opposite.
Opposite, exactly. What's on your opposite list?
You got opposite's gonna be either oak.
Maple, ash, dogwood. Maple, ash, dogwood. What's after that?
We've got a nice
Cap, horse.
Oh, that's cool.
Caryophyllaceae. It's not a viburnum. What's after that?
Horse.
Horse chestnut.
Horse chestnut.
This is it. So, other name is Ohio State Flower Buckeye.
Yes. So horse chestnut, red buckeye, yellow buckeye, all the same root.
Yeah. Also, one thing here at Montpelier, Robert can correct me, but I think it was planted by the DuPonts, and it's over behind the mansion. Is that
well, we
correct?
think it's pre-DuPont, post-Madison, pre-DuPont.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, this is not native to Virginia. It's native to the United States, and particularly the Ohio Valley. But also notice how far the leaves are out on this. Mm-hmm. And if you walk in the woods, it's one of the first trees to leaf out, big leaf, and that kind of tells you it's a little bit different. And it's this term I think is palmate. Palmate, you see that? That's right. And it's 5, right? So, and that's typical. You'll see this around. It's almost they'll get bigger, and it's also starting to flower up. Right above Robert.
There's one right over top of Dennis's head that's a little more visible.
Oh, right up, yeah, right up there.
Yellow buckeye because of the yellow.
Yeah. So, and it's not. It kind of looks like it's edible, but it's not to humans. I think it is to squirrels. Yeah. And I don't know about deer. But anyway, this is, and I know Roberts and his team have been working on. Getting rid of them in the landmark forest working woods because it's not native to Virginia, and it can take over. We've noticed over the years that more and more of it is coming up. So that just tells you that the squirrels are spreading it. There we go. That's a nut. This is last year's, obviously.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, these two trees on the outside and this one here, will it cause any harm for those trees? Will it kill it, the roots and things?
No. Unless there's a fungal pathogen.
Uh-huh.
Not. Oh! I gotta talk about this tree. There you go. I gotta talk about this tree. It's one of the.
These are not the same tree.
These are not the same tree. This is.
That's a dead poplar.
It's a dead poplar. I had to look at it. So this came in.
Oh,
Notice these purple flowers.
okay.
Purple to black flowers. This is called a pawpaw. It's a native North American. I think it's classified as a tropical fruit. Native fruit tree. The pawpaws, depending on, they can get, 3-4 inches long. Big around is like about that big around. They're delicious. They tend to be seedy, but there's some people that are working on making I would say natural genetics, just cross-pollinating to get ones that have less seed in them. And you can buy some of these seeds.
They're all along the C&O Canal.
There you go. Yeah, they're all around. And there's a particular butterfly. It's a zebra tail swallowtail. It's black and white, and it's usually anyway. These come around. They're one of the first butterflies that come out, and their life cycle is dependent on this tree. This tree, they have to. The caterpillar has to live on it and stuff. And the fruit will come out in the late summer, and usually have to. If you want to collect them, you got to get there before the raccoons, particularly raccoons, as we'll get them. And,
Best technique is to shake the tree.
yeah, well, that's exactly. I was. A place where I live, I was walking down to the area. It was along a river, and I was like, it smelled like old apples. It's what the smell in the air. I'm like, oh man, the pawpaws must be out. I'm looking around, and I did what Matt did. I went up to a tree. It was a little bit smaller than this, and I just and they started dropping, collect them up, and
It's the largest native fruit in North America.
That's it. Yes, largest native fruit. But it's this time of year it's the beautiful flower. So you pass that around. That's a really good.
Reminds me of like an Adam's family flower.
It is pretty.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of flowers on this tree. Usually you don't see it.
Is it at the same stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in full bloom in the landmark. It's really very pretty.
Yeah. Is there any other tree we haven't?
But this is ash. The emerald ash borer has pretty much wiped out all the ash that hasn't been treated throughout most of Virginia. There you go. There you can see the evidence of it. Thank you.
That's what kills the tree.
So the larva of the adult, it's a beetle in its adult phase, but the larva, just kind of a white grub-looking thing, tunnels between the bark and the wood, eating the cambium, which is the living portion of the tree, and it basically girdles the tree.
Be careful of this vine. This is poison ivy that's running along the tree right here. That one. Very hairy. Sorry.
No, I think sorry.
So we won't have, no, maybe there is, I noticed there's some ash that's been treated, but I don't know if it's in this area.
I don't know.
So we might have ash today. Ash would be an opposite or alternate. Madcap horse. Maple, ash. Yep, so ash would be opposite, a compound leaf.
Just press out. Okay. You can see the depth of the gallery.
So there's one of the most beautiful ash in the region is in the landmark forest. Actually, no, it's in the demonstration forest.
Yeah, it's in the transition.
So you might see that tomorrow. It's been treated, but yeah, we'll see.
And just a little bit more about the life cycle. So the larvae feed on the cambium, and then when they're ready to start to mature, they actually tunnel into the tree. This is kind of a smaller one, but they'll tunnel in and pupate, and then they come out through a D-shaped exit hole. And I don't really see one, but anyway. Yeah, they blend in quite well.
But the ash makes good lumber.
Yeah.
Baseball bat. Yep, and the baseball bat manufacturing has been shifting away from ash for this reason for a number of years.
A lot of tool handles.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And good furniture. Yeah, it's a loss. It's a huge loss. There's been a lot of work preserving the genetics of ash from the region that it grows in seed, and working on, maybe ways that it can be combated. But it's been pretty devastating to the ash. All right. So what time is it? What do you want to? That sort of is I feel like enough of an introduction to tree ID. We could go on and on and on, but I think we've captured 90% of the species that we'll deal with here.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock now.
Okay.
And
How old did you count the rings?
We could do that though.
Yeah, these we've got
Or you have done it.
dendrochronology most of the ash are similar to the age of the tulip poplar, and they're around 90 to 100 years old.
What might be interesting just for you to walk by and look at this is the width of the rings here, and then it gets smaller, 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 and see how tight they are on the outside. Well, that's competition. So when it was young, it had a lot of space, a lot of resources, namely trees compete for light in the eastern U.S., so it was growing pretty fast. And then as other trees that were also growing alongside it started to compete with it, the growth rate gets slower, slower.
So basically, when this tree sprouted 100 years ago, it would have been likely an open field?
Yes.
Okay.
It would
and
have
that's
been
what we're picking up with all the
exactly.
other trees.
Yeah. So tulip poplar, ash, those do not grow in the shade. They grow in the full sun. So we're in the shade kind of now, but these trees have always had full sun in their canopy.
And Dennis, in the metal detector survey, he literally found a plow where that rock outcrop is, with a manufacturer, like a patent date of the 1870s or 80s.
Interesting.
But it's
A moldboard plow?
It was probably a mold. The ironworks. But it was like a mold.
Wow. Yeah.
So this area is plowed from the 18th century into the late 19th century. And then finally, when these guys sprout, and we don't know whether the DuPonts arranged to have their workers do a final plowing that would encourage the sprouting to happen, because there's a cedar on the 1908 map. The area up there that has a detailed map is shown as a cedar thicket. And don't know, the cedar thicket looks like it extended down into this area. But if there's a cedar thicket in here, would these be able to sprout in a cedar thicket?
The cedar and the ash probably would have come up together. I don't think that ash would grow up under a solid cedar thicket.
Okay. What about the tulip poplar? Would they? All right. So maybe the final plowing was to get rid of the, because there's like what we found from the archaeology is there's like a last set of disturbance with a shallow plow zone that plows up some of the bedrock that's in the area. And so we're wondering if, and there's literally, like Dennis found 2 broken plow points out here. So they're plowing in some horrendous conditions, but whether or not they did that to get rid of that cedar thicket and then to allow the tulip poplars and the ashes to come up.
Well, the poplars would have gotten rid of the cedars anyway, because they
through shade.
eventually overtopped them, and cedars are not a shade-tolerant species either, so they would have been outcompeted. So we got some on the edge, but nothing really.
Although there's some, there's some shade tolerance, and they can hang on for a long time. I mean, we got them in places in the landmark forests.
Most of them are dead though.
Yeah, that's true.
Like these.
Yeah.
The ones
These
that are on
look
the
pretty
edge are
good.
alive.
Yeah.
But all the cedars that were in there are gone. There's a couple of cedar stumps in there. Before that was the mulch. You could see the cedars, the old cedar stumps that were in there. So that's what we're wondering, is like how the cedars and the ash would interact. So, but Michael.
So, as far as aging in tree rings, is that a thing?
Yeah,
or...
absolutely.
All right.
So in this part of the world, temperate climates, for the most part, trees put on 1 growth ring a year. So that's why we can count the rings and get the age. Tropical climates, where there's a wet season and a dry season, 2 of those in a year, that doesn't work. So it's much more difficult to age trees and other, in not temperate areas. There's some exceptions where you can get 2 rings a year, but for the most part, it's a pretty solid estimate of age. And we can, and I can show you the tool, we can count the rings without cutting it down. There's an increment cord, it's basically a hollow drill bit that you turn into the tree, and then you pull out the core, and you can just count the rings on that. And it does not hurt the tree. There's been study after study after study because people like to anthropomorphize the tree and don't think that if I was drilling into my core, that would be bad.
This is 50 right here, and I didn't go out here because it's too dark to tell with the weathering, so it should be about 100 years old, maybe a little bit more.
So what kind of Matt has been asking about is you know, what species, when they could have been here, stuff like that. That's all succession. You remember your science class in school, succession, going from field, you know, bare dirt to grasses and shrubs, larger shrubs to trees, to bigger trees, to longer lived. So shorter lived, longer lived, smaller, bigger. That's kind of how succession goes. But it's also very species specific. Your earlier successional species are not shade tolerant, meaning they need full sun. Tulip poplar, ash. What else?
Virginia pine,
Virginia pine,
black
yeah,
locust,
yeah,
black cherry doesn't do too good in the dense
yep,
forest.
all those.
And black walnut is kind of a hit and miss.
Yeah.
We do have some cherry in here. You know what's not in here? Oaks.
Yeah. Right.
There's not an oak in here. I'm just looking around. I don't see one. Or maybe there's maybe.
Oh, that was a dead one. That's a dead one.
Oh, okay, okay. So,
But in this area, you're right. There are no oaks. But in that where there's no plowing, like this is all plowed.
Okay.
Where there's no plowing, where that was full of oaks.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. See, that's a.
So the same woodlot.
That's what history says. Tells you exactly. But you can say by the species here. Okay, there's no oaks in here. There's that's defying where the boundary was
where the cemetery
plowed.
was, where the burial ground is versus where there are new graves. So this area, we just went over this in the tour this morning. This area has been selected by the MDC as a memorial site because it's outside of the burial ground. It was an ancient field going back, into the 18th century, and you can see, really in some ways, we wanted to confirm it with the archaeology, but we could have determined this without the archaeology, just based on trees. Yeah. All tulip poplars, no periwinkle, no native flora, except some stuff is starting to come back, like the mayapple and the jackrabbit pulpit, but all down there is just loaded with oaks and all sorts of native
Another species I haven't seen in here are beech.
So beech is a good example of a shade tolerant species. It'll grow in the sun, but it can grow in the shade. And so you're right, where there hasn't been disturbance for a long time, you would see beech in the understory.
Is hickory the same?
Hickory is pretty shade tolerant too. Yeah, not as much, but
They would.
Evergreen like pine.
all the pines, all the native pines for the Piedmont are not shade tolerant. The white pine that you would pick up in the western part of the state does have some shade tolerance.
Now, why didn't shortleaf take up in here? Why was it tulip poplar instead of shortleaf?
Right here?
Yeah.
I don't know, but one thing I would put out for consideration would be just the quality of the soils. And the tulip poplar, if it's decent quality soil, will outcompete the pines.
Yeah, because somewhere, we're going to go to the Eastwoods today, and there are some areas in the Eastwoods where the field was abandoned, and it was all shortleaf pine. And now we'll see it. It's like the graves of those shortleaf pine. The skeletons of those shortleaf pine are out there in the woods. But in other areas like this, it's tulip poplar. And I never thought about the richness of the soil. Never heard about that.
You might know this. I thought I heard one time. I don't know if it was Madison maybe talked about where the working woods in the landmark forest is now was a pine forest. Am I remembering that correct? So in that area, we know there had to be shortleaf pine up in there. I've counted like maybe 6 that are remnants in the old landmark forest up there now. So.
There's 3 still standing on the slope that are still alive. One is massive, not as big as the one down here at the entrance, but still pretty big. So it's kind of cool that they've held on. They just haven't gotten competed out, I guess.
Yeah, the ones out there, the one that was cut that died, it dated back to 18 aughts, and the one that's out there, Tom Duroff estimated went back to the 18th century.
And I think, Adam, you were involved with that dating.
Yeah.
Please tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, that was just dumb luck.
What? Yeah, I was there too. Hey, okay.
We were here doing something, and when we went out, we saw flagging around a big shortleaf, and we're like, why is that there?
I
so we started
Tom
asking, and
immediately, and they're like, it's dying because it's weeping, and there's just like,
Yeah. It was
Tom,
just
please
sapsucker
help him.
damage.
And that was like 15 years ago.
It was 15 years ago, yeah, when y'all were doing the study
Yeah.
with Tom.
Yeah.
Glenn had his chainsaw sharpened on that one, or he's sharpening for that one, and we
Valuable wood.
yeah, that's, yeah.
So shortleaf pine, we'll maybe be able to point one of those out, but that would be the native southern yellow pine to all of Virginia. When you see planted pine around, planted in rows for reforestation and stuff like that, that's almost always loblolly pine, which is native to Virginia, but it's to a small part. It's the most commonly planted pine in all of the southeastern U.S. And it's planted all the way up into Pennsylvania. But the native southern yellow pine, which is a group of pines that include Virginia pine, loblolly, shortleaf, and longleaf. So the shortleaf pine, which doesn't have short leaves, it has pretty long needles, is the native southern yellow pine for Montpelier.
What's interesting about them is they have a lot of pitch, I guess, inside of them, turpentine. And they're extremely long-lived and take a long time to rot. I know, for example, I had one in my yard cut down, and my mistake was I didn't have it cut down into like 8-foot lengths. They had it chopped up, and then anyway, because it took a long time. So I had a stump like this right by my back patio for 15 years. It just didn't rot, and I finally had to because my wife was complaining. Anyway, so I finally dug down in there. But when I had the logs sitting out there, I mean, like 5 or 10 years, I would split them up. It's real easy to split up to put a little bit in the fire, but it's like just roars so much. And so that's part of the longleaf. They're related to historically, like longleaf pine and shortleaf pine for. They call them naval stores for pitch, for turpentine stuff. So it's one of those. That's one of the characteristics of southern yellow pines.
Pine tar.
Yeah, exactly.
And another tie to history would be some people refer to it as heart pine, or the old heart pine, which I'm sure is in the mansion.
Yeah. Oh, pine is in the 18th century part of the main house.
So that heart pine was shortleaf, most likely. It's the heartwood. It's slow growing, very dense. It's not a different species. It's shortleaf pine.
When we did the restoration, we cut the carpenters cut into those, and you can still smell the pitch. They're just beautiful. So it's so cool.
Yeah, that's neat. Well, shall we take a little break?
Yeah, let's take a break, and then we're gonna divide up into teams, and then start doing the tree surveys.